Johannes Alesch. The project is called Animedes. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation. My name, as he already introduced me, is Johannes Alesch. I'm the founder and CEO of Animedical. By the way, I'm also every month's best employee of Animedical. What we did is we produced Animedes, and I'm going to show you today what it's all about. You see, if this would switch. Yeah. At the end of the 10 minutes that I have today, I would like you to understand what it is we do with Animedes, how we do it and why we do it, and especially, ultimately, I want you to care about the project, because I think it is really important. You know, some things in life just happen by accident, and it was the same with me, and it actually was an accident, because in 2006, about 8 months into a relationship, my girlfriend had a severe car accident, and she was hit and run over 2 times by a 17-ton construction site truck. That's that one. And what happened was that she spent a long time in hospital, especially in the ICU for 2.5 months. For most of the better part of a year, she was in hospital and in rehab. In the years after the accident, she had a lot of time in the hospital, a lot of surgery that she underwent, and it was during one of those sit-downs with the doctor that you have before a surgery, where they try to explain the surgery to you, that we sat there for half an hour, and the doctor, she was really trying to make us understand what was going to happen during the surgery. But even though we had paper pamphlets to read, even though she tried to do scribbles and paintings of what was going to happen, we had no idea, and we left that room with the doctor, and we were just plain scared. It was so scary. So just to lighten up the mood again, she's okay, we're okay, and we're still together after 9 years. So what I did after that evening in 2007 was I used my education as a 3D animator to basically create movies that explain to patients in visual language, very short, very easy to understand, what is going to happen to them during surgery. And that's the idea of Animedes. Why do we need the videos, you ask? Well, look at the red part of the pie. That's 17% of the Austrian population, and they have a reading competence level of level 0 to 1 on the 5-scale OECD chart. And what does that mean? That means that actually 17%, that's about 1 million of the 8 and something million people in Austria, have absolutely no chance of understanding the written information that we give them before surgery to inform them what's going to happen to them during surgery. And that's not acceptable. And everything that's red and yellow, orange right there, that's 54.4% of people who, of the total population, who can, well, they can interpret and read and understand a short, basic, easily written text. So this is what we give them. This is the short and easily readable text that we give them before surgery, and they have to understand this. Yes, this is double-sided, and yes, this is written in scientific, medical language. Nobody really understands that. And that is just plain stupid. This was not designed to be an informational media. This was just designed to basically have the people sign in the end, so that they are free to go to surgery, so that the legal situation for the doctors gets easier. So how do we do this? Sorry for the title, that had to be. I'm going to switch to the app right now. This is our test patient that we will discuss today. He will have a colonoscopy, and we're going to proceed to the app. The patient will before he goes to the talk with the doctors, will see a presentation, a video that will explain the surgery. I will skip through the video because this would take too long. But every video basically has the same parts. It talks about an introduction, what is going to happen to you, why do you have this treatment, and how can you prepare for the treatment.
Of the colon.
There is sound, by
On
the
the
way.
day of the examination, please do not
I just turned it down. Afterwards, we talk about how the procedure is being done, and this is very abstract. This is a bowel we're talking about, okay? And we basically explain the procedure in a very abstract but medically correct way so that everybody can understand it, no matter how smart or how they are or how good they can read. In the end, we obviously have the potential risks and side effects of surgeries, and every treatment that we show, we also show them in the video. So after the patient is done with this part, what we built into the app is an opportunity to talk about the anamnesis. You know, patients need to write down what could possibly go wrong during surgery. For example, I have an allergy. I need to tell my doctor that. So we're going to just run this really fast so that we can see the whole app. Basically, this is the same as in the paper pamphlets. You're asking patients about earlier sicknesses, pre-existing surgeries that you had to go through, blood donations, things like that, problems with blood clotting, smoking, and drinking habits, and also something like a pain slider. Okay, so this was the main part, and the things that the patients can do if they want to is pose own questions. We just gave them a little bit of like anesthesia. What interests a patient that undergoes surgery, you know? Is it possible to wake up during anesthesia? I hate that question. I take it every time I do a presentation. The questions go on until when can I go home again, or when can I receive visitors? So everything is really in there, and patients can also type their own questions. So after they're done typing it in, what we can do is, as a doctor, on any connected device within the clinic, you can access the patient's data. And I need a shorter password. So what the doctor gets is basically an overview of all his patients that are in the system. We just did the test patient. We posed 4 questions, and we produced 3 alerts. That is 3 things that during taking the anamnesia could go wrong during surgery. So the doctor needs to see this. We have this triage system for every patient. So a patient that has 9 questions will take a lot longer than if he only has 4. In the doctor's part, when he sits across the table from the patient, he has the opportunity to see what parts of the video the patient already saw. He has the possibility to very quickly do notes about the anamnesis and all the other parts of the data that was sent in by the patient, so that he or she can react to everything that has been given to them by the patient.
You are right to look at me, because it's 30 seconds you have still.
30 seconds, okay. Back to this. We did a homework. The app has been through 2 different patient studies. We are out on the market beginning of 2015, working together with partner clinics and various healthcare officials in this country. All the other stuff, please ask me in the questions. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. I can see that you were preparing yourself for the jurors, because the aesthetics are very much like Nokia, Microsoft.
Are they? I wasn't aware, I swear.
Aren't they? Maybe.
Well, this is a Surface tablet after all.
Okay, it's a Surface tablet. Very, very smart and very strategic. It's a very competitive marketplace in which you're moving, but it's a very important kind of application because we know all that healing has very much to do with how patients feel. How did you do the market study in terms of why you decided to do something on your own rather than to team up with other people?
There is a lack of educational media because the existing companies on the market, what they did was they overslept a lot of this. When we started in 2010 with the company, we were the first in Middle Europe, the first actual 3D agency, so to speak, that produced medical media and only focused on medical media, which is stupid. Basically, sorry. There were a couple of companies in the US who started doing it. There are now over a dozen larger companies. In Middle Europe, it's still kind of bleak, the situation. We then went into the hospital with the videos because we strongly thought that it would make patients' lives better. And our first studies that we did, and you know, asking and working together with patients, it kind of made a strong point for us. So we continued with the work.
Does anybody have any questions, suggestions, comments for Johannes Alles? Please.
My question is, this is a great app, and there are so many possible surgeries that patients can undergo. So have you prepared any possible video for that, or do you use crowdsourcing for that, or who do you cooperate with to prepare for any kind of patient? Thank you.
Well, up until now...
Thank you, Olga.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Up until now, it was basically our job to get the studies in because we didn't want to drag anybody too far into the system just on our thoughts, basically. But yes, we have produced up until now about 22 patient education videos, and we are constantly in contact with basically, for example, my old internship company in New York, who produce medical media for that, and I'd be absolutely happy to welcome anybody else producing 3D animations or medical 3D animations to help us create some videos for the market.
Okay, Christian Bauer.
Certainly a nice system, but I suspect that not all doctors and hospitals want transparency in their way to work. So what do you think? You did not address like the acceptance rate or the how transparency is like interacting with our medical system.
You mean how the doctors would accept a system that would basically give their patients more information than a paper pamphlet? Yes, we had this problem actually, and a couple of doctors have their reservations against it, but basically what we're talking about is a system right now that is only designed to get a signature from a patient, no matter how much they understand or not. And what we try to do in the patient studies, we're looking at how much time do they need when they are talking to the patient? Is that going up or down? Is the patient better informed or not at the time of the signature? All these things we took a look at, and basically we have a slight win of time. So they basically do not need longer to talk to the patients, but shorter. And the system, what I showed you today, the where you could note on the paper, maybe I can get it here. Yeah, the notes on the right-hand side that you see over there. This is something that a doctor would have to write down on the piece of paper with a pen. And I talked to a friend of mine, a physician in Graz, actually, at the university clinic, and he's an anesthesiologist. Every day, as a young doctor, he explains the same procedures to about 20 patients. And for every patient, he sits down and writes 1 to 2 minutes the same things over and over again on these pamphlets. So he's saving 40 minutes a day.
Thank you very much. I think a convincing argument. I can see that Niall has something, and then Manar.
Thank you. You said better informed. Have you in any way quantified, like when you distill the information down to make the videos, have you tried to quantify the difference between glossy cards and doing this on an iPad or on a tablet?
Yes, this has been part of patient studies. You can get the exact numbers at the end of the year because we are publishing the study in December. What it looks like right now, what the data looks like right now, is that patients, there is an age difference, mind you. We did this in urology, so the patients we tried it on are kind of a hard group for a digital thing like this because they're 75 years old actually. And what we found out was that simply from the knowledge level, people are at least as good informed as when they read the pamphlets, at least at the same level or better.
What's the business model for this project?
I'm sorry, where are you? Oh, there. The business model is basically the same as with the paper pamphlets. The companies who distribute those right now, you pay per print or pay per paper. Most of the hospitals basically they charge an amount of up to 66 cents depending on the language. For an Arabic language, you would pay 66 cents just for the license to print one of those. And it's basically the same model, only a little better, if you ask me. Should I?
More take one more question.
Okay.
Anybody from the students who want to take a question? Yes. Do you want to take a question? Do you want to just wave your hand?
I want to wave my hand.
Okay.
And I'm over here. So.
Okay. Where's your friend? Did you see that your friend is over here? Okay, can we all signal by hand now? Yeah, okay, good, very good. Okay, so then there is a question. Yes.
So I was wondering, how do you deal with data privacy? Is the data stored purely locally? Is there any cloud service or any exchange of notes? What do you use for
Thank you for the question. Yes, I didn't get to that in the presentation. This app only runs within one hospital department, the way we created it right now. So it's basically if you have a urological app, then only the people from that department, only the doctors can access the patient's data for that surgery, for the urological surgery, okay? And the data never leaves the house. Basically, what we do is we store on a clinic server, but it never goes on the internet or anything else. And basically, before and after that, you know, when we get the patient's data from the hospital IT systems, it's the same security as with every other stationary PC in the house. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a geolocal, or how do you do this technology-wise?
Yes, it's set in every clinic has their own copy of Animedes.
Okay, very good. Okay, anybody ready to give some applause to Johannes Aleš and Animedes? I asked